Joined by Winter High School head football coach Dan Aaker as he prepares for tonight's semifinal football game against the Groton Tigers. First off, Coach, nice win against the Bennett County Warriors last week. What do you take from that real quickly?
Yeah, I thought we played well again. I didn't think that we were probably as mentally sharp as we've been in the past, and but at the same time, we really kind of overcame that. I just didn't think we were as sharp as we had, and sometimes I think when we come off a very emotional big win against Parks and being in the first round and remembering things from last year, our guys may be a little complacent, but still at the same time, when I think they woke us up right away. We were fourth down and hadn't got a yard. People ask why, I didn't think about punting there. I really didn't. We mentioned this maybe before that our defense is playing strong enough, and I think Riley made a really good individual effort, and that kind of sent a message, I think, to Bennett County and to our players that we're gonna go here and keep playing well. They submarined us a little bit defensively, and I thought we adjusted well to that. And then, just like many of the games that we've had this year, we just got kind of big plays in waves. And next thing you know, you look up, it's 29-0 at the first quarter, and really controlled the game and finished it at halftime. And so things we can take away from it. We talked earlier when we came in this week. I didn't want to spend a lot of time on them because we had to get ready for Groton, but just ask the general question of the team: how do we think we played very well? And they were all in agreement that they weren't as mentally sharp, and we all pretty much know that what needs to take place here for the rest of the year, that can't happen again with the opponents we're going to see. So happy with obviously winning and advancing. Maybe not our sharpest effort, but our expectations are pretty high of ourselves. So that had a lot to do with it too.
I know a term that was most often associated with basketball would be transition, and I think that you guys did a really nice job of that, turning those turnovers into points quickly, especially.
Yeah, we got a couple fumbles there in the first quarter, and we capitalized on that, and or maybe we got one interception and one fumble, and I think we ended up having 5 takeaways, and we may have probably scored on all 5 of them. So you got to take advantage of that stuff, and that's a good analogy. It transfers into football just like basketball.
Your opponent tonight, the Groton Tigers, a team that the Warriors haven't faced since 1983. That was a 100-degree September day. I don't think you're going to have 100 degrees, correct?
No, it's going to be beautiful. I think it's a little cooler, but it's November 7th. It's supposed to be cool, and I think it'll be a great environment for football.
Football playoff weather for sure. Now, it sounds like the Tigers like to do a lot of things. They won an exciting quarterfinal game. I got to listen to the end of that, and they come in with a lot of emotion and nothing to lose. Would that be a good way to put it?
Yeah, and playing well. They played really well. I think the last 3-4 games feel like they're getting confident, and definitely on an emotional high. That was a big win for them. Interesting, kind of that game really went back and forth. Bridgewater jumped out 14-0, and then a kick return, I think, really got them back in the game, and then it was a seesaw back and crazy fourth quarter. And but they were able to pull it out, and they're a formidable team. They bring a lot to the table offensively, and not only the athletes they have. About 85% of what they want to do goes to their quarterback, and he's a really good player, shifty. They do a lot of run-throw options with him. Got a couple speedy receivers. Number 11 is a really good athlete. He's the one running the kickback. So they have weapons, and what's probably been the hardest thing or the most difficult thing for us to prepare for is the amount of formations and plays that they run. And this isn't a surprise to me. We've had Groton film the last, since we went to 11B, and you kind of look ahead and see possible matchups. You try to get film on different people. And I've mentioned this to you off camera that I kind of joked to Coach Olson defensively, that I hope we see Groton because I listened to him grumble to get ready for him. And it's kind of been that scenario. They do a lot. So what we did is try to simplify as much as we can, and the biggest key is be aligned in the right spots at the snap of the ball. And after that, we don't want them thinking anymore, just like we've been doing all year. Read your keys, get off blocks, make tackles. And that's what we're going to have to do. I think the limit at the big play is going to be critical defensively because they're kind of a big play team, and that's special teams as well. Special teams really probably won the games for them in the 2 playoff games with fake punts, kick returns, and getting some return yards on punts too against Mobridge and Bridgewater underneath. And so that's their athletes kind of coming out. Defensively, they've been solid all year. I see all the stat in the paper that they've only averaged or given up 12.5 a game, which is pretty good, for any team. Good size up front. They'll probably match us size-wise. They got the big 6'8" D end, who holds the edge pretty good. Some good linebackers, and a lot of their skilled, quick guys are in the secondary. Not real big secondary, even smaller than ours, but good athletes. So I think a very formidable opponent that's playing well, and I think they'll try to ride that emotional high that you mentioned coming in here for a semifinal Saturday game.
State titles are fun, but I've always enjoyed the semifinal games. A lot of them happen at home, and even if you're on the road, your opponents playing that last game at home. You've been in some fun semifinal games in the last 14 years here, correct?
Yeah, we have, and I kind of make a point of, if we get to this stage, is to kind of talk with the team about some of those games every night, and I did that this week. In particular, the 7 of the last 9 that we played here, and 4 of them we ended up losing. But quite honestly, in those 4 nights, that better team won, and I thought we fought, and that's what we really talked about our guys is, leaving it all out there, having no regrets. This is such a fun time of year. The last thing you want to do is not know that you walk off that field. You never want to second guess if you prepared good enough or if you played hard enough. And if you don't do that, then that's what makes it fun and memorable, and have no regrets no matter what it turns out. And then I talked to him about the 2008 one with St. Thomas More, which was a cold one but really fun game where we really just handled St. Thomas More. And then obviously the 2 that are, I would agree with you, those are probably the 2 most exciting games that I've coached in, Wagner in 2009 and Flandre in 2012. Even more exciting than winning it the following week, just because I think the environment in a non-dome, actual home field stadium with not only the team's fans, but both those games are so memorable because the hill was packed and all the local area came to watch that game. And so it makes it fun. And that's what I reminded them that right away on Tuesday when I talked about some of the memories that we've had here is, guys, this is why you play. This is why you want them to have fun, and you want to make these memories and be proud of the fact that you're here now and have no regrets no matter what happens as we finish the year. So hopefully it's a memorable one again tonight.
I agree completely, and best of luck. And I hope I got another interview with you next week.
I hope so too. Thanks, Bob.
All right, thank you.